The bright blue light of the fold drive finally dimmed as the USS Horizon steadied itself in normal space. Captain Alan Rogers released his tight grip on the command chair and let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. The view screen showed the beautiful red-orange glow of Alpha Centauri against the blackness of space. "We made it," he said simply, allowing himself a small smile. Humanity's first faster-than-light jump is complete. The bridge crew broke into cheers and applause. 6 months of preparation, years of theoretical work, and decades of scientific progress had led to this moment. Humans had finally broken the light barrier. Lisa Campbell, the ship's science officer, was already busy at her station. Her fingers flew across the control panel as she gathered data on their position. "Captain, we're exactly where we should be. The fold drive worked perfectly. We're in the Alpha Centauri system, 437 light-years from Earth." Rogers nodded. "Not bad for our first try." He pressed a button on his chair. "Engine room status report." Chief Engineer Harold Wells responded over the comm, excitement clear in his voice. "The fold drive is cooling down as expected, Captain. No damage to any systems. We can make the return jump in about 6 hours." "Excellent work, Chief." Rogers turned to his communications officer. "Kelly, send the message to Earth. Tell them we've arrived safely." Lieutenant Kelly Davis nodded. "Yes, sir. Sending now. The message will take 437 years to reach them at light speed, but they'll be monitoring our scheduled fold signature and know we succeeded." Rogers stood up and walked to the front of the bridge. This ship, the USS Horizon, wasn't large by Navy standards, but it carried the hopes and dreams of all humanity. A crew of 30, the best scientists and pilots Earth had to offer, had just made history. "Begin our survey of the system," Rogers ordered. "We have 6 hours to collect as much data as possible before we head home." The mood on the bridge was jubilant as the crew went about their tasks. Humanity had just joined the stars. That's when the alarm sounded. "Captain," Lieutenant Eric Jones called from the sensor station. "Something just appeared on our scans. It's enormous." Rogers hurried to look at the sensor display. "What is it, an asteroid?" "No, sir, it's moving, changing course, and it's heading straight for us." Campbell moved to join them, her face growing pale as she studied the readings. "It's a ship, Captain, a ship at least 50 times our size." Rogers stared at her in disbelief. "That's impossible. We're the only ones out here." "Apparently not." "Sir," Jones said quietly. "Red alert," Rogers ordered. "All hands to battle stations. Kelly, try to make contact." The crew rushed to their emergency positions as red warning lights flashed throughout the ship. Weapon systems came online, though everyone knew their small vessel stood no chance against something of that size. "It's still approaching, Captain," Jones reported. 2 minutes until visual range. Rogers gripped the edge of the console. Humanity's greatest achievement was about to become a first contact scenario that no one had prepared for. "I'm getting something," Davis announced suddenly. "A transmission." "Put it on screen," Rogers ordered. The view screen flickered and then displayed what was clearly an alien face. The creature had pale blue skin, large black eyes, and spoke with a mouth that seemed to move sideways rather than up and down. "Greetings, humans of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, shocking everyone on the bridge. "I am High Counselor Vexitara of the Galactic Council. We have been observing your world for some time." Rogers stepped forward. "This is Captain Alan Rogers of the Earthship Horizon. How do you know our language?" The alien made a gesture. That might have been a smile. "We have studied your broadcast for decades. Your television and radio signals have been quite informative. We've been waiting for you to achieve fold space technology. It is the sign that a species is ready for contact." Campbell whispered to Rogers. "They've been watching us?" Rogers nodded slightly, then addressed the alien again. "We are on a peaceful mission of exploration. We mean no harm." "Of course," Vexitara replied. "Neither do we. In fact, we would like to welcome humanity to the greater galactic community. Our council represents 27 spacefaring species who live and work together in harmony." As Vexitara spoke, the enormous ship came into visual range. It was sleek and silver, shaped like a massive arrowhead. It dwarfed the horizon completely. "With your permission," the alien continued, We would like to send a delegation to your vessel to discuss formal relations between Earth and the Council. Rogers glanced at his officers. Every face showed the same mix of excitement and caution. We would be honored, Rogers finally replied. 20 minutes later, 5 aliens of different species stood in the Horizon's conference room. Besides Vexitara, there was a tall, thin being with 4 arms, a short, stocky creature covered in what looked like golden fur, a humanoid with dark red skin and ridges on its forehead, and a being that seemed to float above the ground wrapped in flowing robes. Rogers had brought Campbell, his security chief Greg Pearson, and his second-in-command Jack Wilson. "We are pleased to meet you all," Vexitara began. "The discovery of a new intelligent species is always cause for celebration in the Council. We're still trying to process that we're not alone in the universe," Rogers admitted. The 4-armed alien spoke next. "I am Genlo of the Talari. Your achievement of fold space technology is impressive for such a young species." "Thank you," Campbell replied. "Our scientists have been working on the theory for decades." The floating alien drifted forward slightly. "I am Mist of Evening from the Aeolian Collective. We are particularly interested in cultural exchange." As the introductions continued, Greg Pearson watched the aliens carefully. Something felt off to him. Their words were friendly, but their body language, at least what he could interpret of it, suggested tension, especially when they discussed Earth's technology. "We would like to invite Earth to join the Galactic Council," Vextara announced. "As a probationary member, of course. All new species begin this way." "That's a generous offer," Rogers said cautiously. "What would membership involve?" "Shared technology, trade opportunities, cultural exchange," the golden-furred alien explained. "And of course guidance on expansion and development. The galaxy has many dangers a young species might not be prepared for." Pearson noticed the emphasis on guidance and dangers. He made eye contact with Campbell, who seemed to have picked up on it too. The meeting continued for 2 hours. By the end, the aliens had presented a preliminary membership agreement and invited the Horizon crew to visit their ship. As the aliens temporarily returned to their vessel to prepare for the humans' visit, Pearson pulled Rogers and Campbell aside. "Sir, something doesn't feel right," he said quietly. "They're too interested in our fold drive technology." Campbell nodded. "And did you notice how they kept emphasizing limits on expansion? Like they're worried about us spreading too quickly." Rogers looked thoughtful. "They're an established power meeting a newcomer. Some caution is natural." "Maybe," Pearson replied. "But I think we should be careful what information we share until we know more about this council and their real agenda." Little did they know at that very moment on the council ship, Vextara was addressing the other representatives. "The humans have achieved fold space travel centuries before our models predicted," he said gravely. "Their rate of technological advancement is unprecedented. I propose we implement Containment Protocol 7. The red-skinned alien frowned. "That's extreme for a first meeting." "Look at their history," Vextara insisted. "Their drive to expand, to conquer. If left unchecked, they could destabilize the entire council within a century." One by one, the representatives voted. The motion passed. "Then it's decided," Vexitara announced. "We welcome them with open arms while quietly ensuring they never become a threat." Back on the Horizon, Rogers stared out at the massive alien ship, excitement battling with a growing sense of unease. Humanity had just taken its first step into a much larger universe, but that universe might not be as friendly as it appeared. 3 years had passed since humanity's first encounter with the Galactic Council. Earth had joined as a probationary member and much had changed. Under the Council's guidance, humans had established their first off-world colony on Proxima Centauri, B, a rocky planet orbiting Earth's closest stellar neighbor. Kate Nelson stood at the window of her office, looking out at the colony she administered. New Eden, they called it. 5,000 colonists lived under its protective domes, working to make the planet habitable for future generations. Council engineers had helped build those domes, claiming they would shield the humans from harmful radiation. Kate frowned as She watched a group of Zarkon engineers working on the outer barrier. The tall reptilian aliens had been a constant presence since the colony's founding. They claimed to be upgrading the protective systems, but they never explained what they were doing. Her computer beeped. It was a message from Dr. John Miller, back on Earth. She opened it immediately, making sure no council observers were nearby. "Kate," the message began, "I've been studying the science database they gave us. The equations for gravitational field manipulation are deliberately incorrect. They've been feeding us flawed data. We need to talk. Use the secure channel tonight." Kate closed the message and deleted it. This confirmed her own suspicions. For months, she had noticed strange power fluctuations in the dome systems. Last week, she had secretly accessed the main control room and discovered that the protective barriers were actually running extensive surveillance programs. The Zarkon weren't protecting the colony. They were watching it. That night, after most of the colony was asleep, Kate connected to the secure channel developed by Samantha Wright, a brilliant young engineer who had found a way to hide communications from alien monitoring. Dr. Miller's face appeared on her screen, looking tired, but determined. "Kate, good to see you." "You too, John. Tell me what you found." "It's not just the gravitational equations. Everything they've given us contains subtle errors or omissions. The faster-than-light calculations, the energy conversion formulas, all of it designed to slow our progress." Kate nodded. "The domes here are surveillance systems. They track every colonist's movements and monitor all standard communications." "It gets worse," Miller said. "I've reconnected with Alan Rogers. He's an admiral now in charge of Earth's defense fleet. He and Greg Pearson have been gathering intelligence on the Council for years." "What have they found?" "Earth is classified as a Class 5 volatile species. They think we're dangerous, and Kate..." Miller hesitated. "Every other Class 5 species in their records has gone extinct within 50 years of contact with the Council." Kate felt cold fear in her stomach. "They're planning to get rid of us?" "Not directly. They're more subtle. They contain our expansion, feed us bad information, and quietly sabotage our development until we can't compete with other species." "We need to do something," Kate said. "We already are. Admiral Rogers is building a team. We're calling it the Horizon Project, after his old ship. We need your help. You're our eyes at the colony." Kate thought of her colonists, working hard and trusting the Council's guidance. "I'm in." 6 months later, Kate stood in an underground bunker beneath New Eden's main dome. The room was filled with equipment smuggled in piece by piece, assembled in secret by colonists who had joined the resistance. Samantha Wright, now the head of Earth's Covert Technology Division, had come to the colony disguised as a supply officer. She was showing Kate a new device. "This can map their monitoring systems without triggering alarms," Wright explained. "We need to know exactly what they're watching and what they might have missed." "I found something interesting yesterday," Kate said, pulling out a data crystal. "One of the Zarkon left this behind after a meeting. It contains communications between their homeworld and the colony." Wright inserted the crystal into a reader. Her eyes widened as she scanned the information. "They have a hidden monitoring station in the asteroid belt back in our solar system," she said. "And look at this. They're specifically tracking our research into quantum physics and advanced propulsion." "That's Miller's field," Kate noted. "They must be worried about his work. With good reason. He's made breakthroughs they don't know about." Back in Earth's solar system, Admiral Rogers was meeting with his core team on a supposedly decommissioned space station orbiting Mars. Present were Greg Pearson, now head of intelligence, Lisa Campbell, who led xenobiology research, and Miller, connected via secure link from his hidden laboratory. "The Zarkon are increasing surveillance," Pearson reported. "They've placed observers in every major research institution on Earth. They're particularly interested in our military capabilities." "They should be," Rogers said grimly. "Our shadow fleet is growing. We have 5 ships now with advanced propulsion systems based on Miller's work." "The key question," Campbell interjected, "is why they're so afraid of us. I've been studying Council records. Humans aren't that different biologically from many member species." It's not our biology they fear, Miller said over the link. It's our adaptability and speed of innovation. Most council species take centuries to make the technological leaps we achieve in decades. We've also made contact with other probationary species, Pearson added. The Krell were admitted 80 years ago and are still restricted to their home system. They believe the council has deliberately held back their development. Rogers nodded. We're not the first to be treated this way, but we might be the first to do something about it. I've identified at least 7 species that were on paths similar to humanity's, Campbell said. All were either contained by the council or mysteriously collapsed just as they were beginning to expand. The Defiance will be ready for testing next month, Rogers said, referring to Earth's first fully independent starship, built in secret within a hollowed-out asteroid. Miller's new drive system should outperform anything the council has. And my team has reverse-engineered much of their communication technology, Wright said, joining the call from Proxima Centauri. We can listen to them, but they can't listen to us. Unbeknownst to the humans, their activities had not gone completely unnoticed. On a Zarkon cruiser patrolling the edge of the solar system, Commander Drezitar reviewed unusual energy readings from the Mars sector. Something is happening there, he told his second-in-command. The humans are hiding something. Increased surveillance of their main settlements and research centers. Should we inform the council? His officer asked. Drestar's scaled face showed no emotion. Not yet. Let's gather more information first. If the humans are developing restricted technology, we'll need proof before requesting a containment vote. The officer nodded. The council was right to be cautious about these humans. They move quickly. Too quickly, Drestar agreed. Which is why they must be controlled or removed. Back on Mars, as the meeting concluded, Rogers looked at the faces of his team, humans who had gone from exploring space to fighting for their species' survival in just 3 years. The council fears our rise, he said quietly. Soon enough, they'll learn they should have feared us much more. 5 years had passed since humanity's first contact with the Galactic Council. The resistance that had begun as small secret meetings had grown into a shadow government, operating parallel to Earth's official council-supervised leadership. Deep beneath the red soil of Mars, Colonel Frank Martinez walked through the tunnels of Olympus Base, the largest of humanity's hidden military installations. Hundreds of colonial Marines trained here, out of sight of the Council's watchful eyes. Similar bases existed beneath, Europa's ice and in remote regions on Earth. Martinez stopped to watch a squad practicing with new weapons developed by Samantha Wright's team. The rifles fired not bullets but concentrated energy that could penetrate Council ship armor. The Marines moved with purpose, knowing they might soon need these skills. Martinez's comm unit beeped. It was a message from Admiral Rogers. Council. Meeting called. Class 5 species review scheduled. Operation Phoenix may need to launch within months, not years. Stand by. Martinez's jaw tightened. Operation Phoenix was the Resistance's plan for full independence from the Council, or survival, if the Council decided humanity had become too troublesome. On the other side of the solar system, Samantha Wright stood in a massive chamber hidden inside a hollowed-out asteroid. Before her floated the Defiance, humanity's first truly independent starship. Unlike the Council-approved vessels in Earth's official fleet, this ship incorporated technologies the aliens didn't know humans had discovered. Reactor test complete, announced her assistant. Power output exceeds Council warships by 34%. Wright smiled. Dr. Miller's quantum fold drive is performing beyond expectations. Miller himself was not present. He was back on Earth, working on something even more revolutionary. The brilliant physicist had completely rethought space travel. While the Council used fold space technology that required enormous power, Miller had found a way to create microfolds that needed far less energy, but could be chained together for faster travel. The Council thinks we're still struggling with their outdated drive designs, Wright told her team. They have no idea what we've actually built. A technician approached with a tablet. The newest shield design is ready for installation. It should block their sensors completely. Perfect, Wright said. The fleet needs to stay invisible until we're ready. The fleet she referred to wasn't just the Defiance. In the past 2 years, humans had secretly constructed 5 more advanced ships, each hidden in different locations throughout the solar system. At the colony on Proxima Centauri B, Administrator Kate Nelson met with a visitor in her private quarters. The visitor was not human, but a tall, willowy alien with pale yellow skin and 4 arms. His name was Trelvan, a member of the Lothari species. The Council grows increasingly concerned about Earth, Trelvan said quietly. There was a closed session yesterday. The Zarkon are pushing for increased restrictions. Nelson poured tea for her guest. Trelvan was part of her network of sympathetic aliens, council members who disagreed with the treatment of younger species. What exactly are they planning? She asked. They want to place more observers in your research facilities. And they're discussing a proposal to require council approval for all new human ships. That would effectively end our expansion, Nelson said. Trelvan nodded sadly. Many council species fear competition. The Zarkon and their allies have deliberately held back promising civilizations for thousands of years. How many others have they contained like this? At least 7 that I know of. Some eventually accepted their limited place. Others, Trelvan looked down. Others resisted and faced more severe consequences. Nelson kept her face neutral, not revealing that. She already knew much of this. Thank you for the warning. I should report this to Earth. After Trelvan left, Nelson contacted Admiral Rogers through the secure channel. The Council is moving faster than we expected, she told him. We may not have much time. Rogers' face was grim on the screen. I know. Our intelligence suggests they're preparing for some kind of intervention. We've accelerated Phoenix. Wright's fleet will be ready in 3 months. What about Miller's new technology? Initial tests are promising. If it works, our ships will be faster than anything the Council has. But we're still outnumbered hundreds to 1. Nelson frowned. Is there any chance of diplomatic resolution? We're trying. Campbell has been meeting with representatives from other probationary species. If enough of us stand together, we might force the Council to reconsider. Meanwhile, in his hidden laboratory beneath the Pacific Ocean, Dr. John Miller watched as his team prepared for another test of the microfold drive. The device on the test platform was small, much smaller than a standard fold drive, yet far more powerful. Power level stable, reported a technician. Field integrity at 100%. Miller nodded. Initiate test sequence. The device hummed to life. Holographic displays showed a small section of space folding in on itself, creating a tunnel through space-time. Unlike the violent energy burst of standard fold drives, this was elegant and precise. Success, Miller said quietly as the test completed. Calculate travel time using this configuration. The computer processed the data. For a journey to Alpha Centauri, standard Council fold drive, 72 hours. Human microfold drive, 6 hours. Miller smiled. This was the advantage humanity needed. Back on Mars, Colonel Martinez was meeting with his daughter, Olivia. Unlike her, Father Olivia wasn't a soldier but a linguist who worked with the Resistance's intelligence division. At just 25, she had mastered several alien languages and was one of humanity's top experts on Council communication systems. We intercepted this yesterday, she told her father, showing him a data tablet. It's encoded, but I broke their new cipher. Martinez read the screen, his expression darkening. A vote on final containment measures for Earth? What does that mean? It's their term for severe action against species that don't comply with Council restrictions, Olivia explained. In the past, it's ranged from technology seizures to planetary blockades. Or worse, Martinez said. Have you informed Rogers? Yes. He's calling an emergency meeting of all resistance leaders. On the Zarkon flagship orbiting Jupiter, Commander Drestar received a priority message from the Council. He read it with satisfaction. The vote passed, he told his officers. We are authorized to implement final containment measures for the humans. Prepare all ships for coordinated deployment to human settlements. His second-in-command looked concerned. The humans will resist. With what? Drestar asked dismissively. Their primitive ships? Their limited weapons? We've kept them contained for 8 years. They're exactly where we want them. Little did he know that at that very moment, Wright was activating the hidden human fleet. Miller was installing his revolutionary drive on the first combat vessels, and Martinez's Marines were taking positions throughout the solar system. The Council had feared humanity's potential rise to power. They had worked systematically to prevent it. But their efforts had only driven humans to develop in secret, to innovate more rapidly, and to prepare for a conflict they now saw as inevitable. They should have known better than to corner a species that had survived countless challenges on its violent home world. They should have recognized the determination in human eyes when faced with extinction. They should have feared what humans would become under pressure. And now, they would learn their mistake. Council ships appeared in Earth's solar system without warning. They emerged near every human settlement: Earth, Mars, the Moon, Europa, and the mining stations on several asteroids. Massive vessels, hundreds of times larger than anything in Lyri. Humanity's official fleet took position in strategic locations. On Earth, people looked up at the night sky with fear as strange lights appeared, breaking through the atmosphere. The Council's message was broadcast globally. This is a security exercise. Remain calm. The Galactic Council is ensuring the safety of all species. But Admiral Alan Rogers knew better. From his command center hidden beneath the Atlantic Ocean, he watched as the alien ships positioned themselves. It's happening, he said to his staff. They're making their move. His communications officer looked up from her console. Sir, we're receiving reports of Council ships landing near major research centers. They're calling it an inspection, but they're seizing equipment and data. Rogers nodded grimly. And so it begins. Send the Phoenix signal. Throughout the solar system, hidden human resistance cells received the coded message. Operation Phoenix was now active. 8 years of preparation would be put to the test. On Mars, Colonel Frank Martinez moved quickly through the underground base. All units deploy to defensive positions, he ordered. Council ships are landing on the surface. Marines rushed to their stations, carrying weapons the Council didn't know existed. Some boarded small, stealthy shuttles that would transport them to strategic locations around the planet. Martinez checked his tactical display. Red dots representing Council forces were appearing all over Mars. His comm unit beeped. It was a direct call from Zarkon Commander Drestar. Colonel Martinez, the alien's voice was cold. We are implementing necessary security protocols. For the safety of all species, human military forces are to stand down and submit to Council authority. We were under the impression that Earth was a Council member, not a subject, Martinez replied calmly. What exactly are these security protocols? Your species has been developing restricted technologies, Drestar said. We are here to ensure compliance with Council regulations. I'll need to consult with my superiors, Martinez answered, buying time as his forces moved into position. In orbit around Jupiter, Samantha Wright gave the final order. Activate all systems. The Defiance fleet is now operational. 6 advanced warships hidden until this moment powered up their engines. Unlike the bulky Council vessels, these human ships were sleek and nimble, designed with Wright's revolutionary technology and Miller's microfold drive. Council ships are surrounding the Jupiter mining station, reported her tactical officer. They're demanding immediate surrender. Wright's expression hardened. Move to intercept. Defensive formation. Delta. Do not fire unless fired upon. The Defiance fleet accelerated toward Jupiter, still hidden by their advanced cloaking technology. On the colony at Proxima Centauri b, Kate Nelson faced her own crisis. Council ships had surrounded the colony domes, and Zarkon troops were entering the main habitat. Administrator Nelson, the Zarkon officer, said, "By order of the Galactic Council, this colony is now under direct Council control. Your people will be relocated back to Earth for their safety." Nelson stood her ground. On what authority? We have followed every Council regulation. New evidence suggests humans are a threat to galactic stability. the officer replied. The relocation is non-negotiable, but Nelson had prepared for this day. As the aliens moved through the colony, they failed to notice the colonists quietly moving to predetermined positions, activating hidden systems, and preparing for resistance. Back on Earth, in her underground listening post, Olivia Martinez intercepted a transmission between Council ships. What she heard made her blood run cold. "This is not just containment," she told Admiral Rogers over the secure channel. "I've decoded their orders. The Zarkon are planning to release an engineered pathogen in Earth's major cities. It would kill millions while leaving infrastructure intact." Rogers' face paled. "Are you certain?" "Completely. They're calling it Environmental Adjustment Protocol. It's designed to reduce human population to a manageable level." "We need proof to show the other Council species," Rogers said, "something they can't deny." "The formula and deployment plans are on the Zarkon flagship," Olivia replied. "If we could access their main computer, we can. Your father's team is our best option." Rogers made the call to Mars. "Frank, we have an emergency mission. I need your best squad to infiltrate the Zarkon flagship." Martinez listened to the details, his expression grim. "We'll need a distraction." "You'll have it," Rogers promised. Dr. John Miller watched from his hidden lab as Council ships hovered over major cities worldwide. The time had come to reveal the fruits of his research. "Activate the planetary defense grid," he instructed his team. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations powered up. Satellites that the Council thought were simple communication relays revealed their true purpose. Energy shields formed over key human settlements, blocking the Council's sensors and weapons. "Shields at full power," reported Miller's assistant. "They're holding against Council scans." Miller nodded. "Now for Phase 2. On his command, hundreds of small automated drones launched from hidden bases. Each carried a miniature version of his microfold drive, giving them unprecedented speed and maneuverability. They swarmed around the Council ships, jamming their communications and disrupting their sensors. In orbit around Earth, Wright's flagship Defiance decloaked directly in front of the largest Council vessel. The alien ship dwarfed the human craft, but Wright knew size wasn't everything. "Open a channel," she ordered. The alien commander appeared on screen, clearly shocked at the sudden appearance of an unknown human vessel. "This is Captain Samantha, Wright of the Earth Defense Force," she said firmly. "Your so-called security exercise is recognized for what it truly is, an act of aggression against a sovereign species. Withdraw your forces immediately." The alien laughed. "With what force will you back this demand, human? Your primitive ships are no match for Council technology." In response, Wright gave a simple command: "All ships decloak." Throughout the solar system, the hidden human fleet revealed itself. Dozens of advanced warships appeared near Council vessels. Though still outnumbered, the human ships were positioned for maximum tactical advantage. "This is your only warning," Wright said. "Withdraw, or face the consequences of your actions," the alien commander snarled. "You dare threaten the Council? Your species will be contained as planned." "So be it." As Council ships moved to attack positions, the human vessels engaged their microfold drives. They moved with impossible speed, appearing and disappearing around the alien ships, firing precision strikes at key systems. On Mars, Colonel Martinez led his squad toward the Zarkon flagship under cover of the battle. They wore advanced stealth suits that bent light around them, rendering them nearly invisible. "Remember," he told his team, "our mission is to get proof of their plans, not to engage in direct combat unless necessary." Throughout the solar system, humanity fought for its very existence. The Council had expected an easy containment operation. Instead, they found themselves facing a species that had prepared for this day for years, a species that refused to be extinguished. The Council had feared Earth's rise to power. Now they would learn why they should have feared far more than that. The battle for humanity's future raged across the solar system. Council ships, despite their size and numbers, struggled against the surprising capabilities of the human fleet. Wright's vessels used their microfold drives to appear and disappear, in battle, striking with precision before vanishing again. In Earth orbit, Admiral Rogers directed the defense from his command ship. "Focus fire on their communication arrays," he ordered. "Keep them isolated from each other." The human ships followed his commands perfectly. One by one, Council vessels lost contact with their fleet command. The coordinated alien attack began to falter as individual captains made their own decisions, often contradicting each other. Meanwhile, on the Zarkon flagship above Mars, Colonel Martinez and his squad moved silently through the massive vessel. Their stealth technology kept them invisible to the ship's sensors, but they still had to avoid direct visual contact with the crew. "The main computer should be 2 levels up," whispered Lieutenant Amy Peterson, the squad's tech specialist. Martinez nodded and signaled the team forward. They reached a maintenance shaft and climbed upward, emerging near the ship's command center. "Guards at the entrance," Martinez observed. "We need a distraction." On his signal, 2 Marines planted small devices on a nearby power junction. When activated, they caused a cascade of system failures throughout that section of the ship. Alarms blared as Zarkon crew members rushed to respond to the emergency. "Now," Martinez ordered. His team slipped into the computer core while the guards were distracted. Peterson moved quickly to the main terminal. "Accessing their secure files now," she reported, attaching a device Wright had created specifically for this purpose. "I need 2 minutes. Make it 1. Martinez replied, watching the door. At Proxima Centauri B, Kate Nelson had activated the colony's hidden defenses. As Zarkon troops attempted to round up the colonists, they suddenly found themselves trapped by force fields that appeared from nowhere. "What is this?" demanded the Zarkon commander. Nelson faced him calmly. "Did you think we were fools? We've known about your true intentions for years." The colonists, many of whom were scientists and engineers who had secretly worked on resistance technology, emerged with weapons that bypassed Council armor. "This colony is staying under human control," Nelson stated firmly. "Your choice is simple: retreat to your ships or face consequences." Back on Earth, Dr. Miller's defensive systems were proving their worth. The Council ships attempting to deploy their environmental adjustment protocol found their delivery systems failing as human countermeasures disrupted their technology. "Sir," called one of Miller's assistants, "we're getting a transmission from Colonel Martinez." Miller activated the screen. Martinez's face appeared, looking tense but triumphant. "We got it," the colonel reported. "Complete documentation of the Council's genocide plan, along with records of 7 other species they've eliminated. Sending the data now." "Excellent work," Miller replied. "Get your team out of there. We're broadcasting this to every Council species." In the Jupiter sector, Wright's Defiance engaged the Council flagship. Despite the alien vessel's massive size, the human ship's speed and advanced weapons were proving superior. "Their shields are failing," reported her tactical officer. Wright nodded. "Target their engines only. We want them disabled, not destroyed." The Defiance fired precision shots that crippled the Council flagship without causing catastrophic damage. Throughout the solar system, the same scene repeated as human vessels neutralized Council ships with minimal casualties. Olivia Martinez had completed her most important task, broadcasting the Zarkon genocide plans and historical records to every communication channel in Council space. The evidence was irrefutable, revealing centuries of systematic elimination of promising species. "Message confirmed received by 17 Council homeworlds," she reported to Rogers. "They're seeing the truth about their leadership for the first time." On dozens of planets across the galaxy, Council citizens watched in horror as the evidence unfolded. Many had believed they were part of a benevolent organization that helped younger species develop. The reality, that their leaders had systematically contained and sometimes eliminated potential competitors, shook the foundation of the Council. Within hours, ships from several Council species arrived in Earth's solar system, not to fight humans, but to stop the Zarkon and their allies. The galactic community was fracturing as the truth emerged. 1 month later, Admiral Rogers stood before representatives from 22 spacefaring civilizations in a new chamber built specifically for this historic meeting. The Galactic Council as it had existed was no more. In its place, a new organization was forming, the Stellar Accord. The principles of this accord are simple. Rogers addressed the gathered delegates. Mutual respect, true cooperation, and the right of all species to develop without interference. No more containment. No more sabotage. No more fear of competition. Kate Nelson, now Earth's ambassador to the new accord, stood beside him. For too long, the Council preached cooperation while practicing control. The Stellar Accord will be different because it must be. The future belongs to all of us, not just those who arrived first. Many former Council species had joined the Accord immediately. Others, like the Zarkon, had retreated to their home systems, refusing to acknowledge the new galactic order. But their power was broken, their influence diminished by the exposure of their crimes. Dr. Miller's revolutionary drive technology spread rapidly throughout Accord space, sparking a renaissance of development. Wright's defensive systems were adapted for peaceful uses, protecting vulnerable colonies from natural disasters. 6 months after the battle, Samantha Wright stood on the bridge of a new ship, the Explorer. Unlike the Defiance, this vessel was built for discovery, not war. It incorporated the best technology from a dozen species, freely shared under Accord principles. "All systems ready," reported her first officer. Wright smiled. "Set course for the Andromeda Galaxy. Let's see what's out there." On Earth, a ceremony honored those who had led the resistance. Colonel Martinez, now General of the Accord Defense Force, accepted a medal alongside his daughter Olivia, whose linguistic skills had proven crucial in forming alliances with former Council species. "Humanity faced extinction," said the ceremony's host, "and instead found its place among the stars." In a distant system, former Council High Counselor Vextara watched reports of human expansion with a mixture of fear and grudging respect. "We should have known," he told his few remaining allies. Their greatest weapon wasn't technology. It was their refusal to accept limits. The final act of the new accord was to send emissaries to find other contained species, civilizations the Council had restricted or sabotaged over the centuries. One by one, these cultures were invited to join the galactic community as equals. Years later, as Captain Olivia Martinez guided her exploration vessel beyond the edge of the Milky Way, her sensors detected something unexpected, signals from an unknown civilization in a neighboring galaxy. "First contact protocols," she ordered her crew. "And remember, we approach as equals, not conquerors or controllers." As her ship moved toward the source of the signals, she reflected on how far humanity had come. The Council had feared Earth's rise and tried to prevent it. In doing so, they had only guaranteed that when humans did rise, they would change the galaxy forever. The aliens had feared the wrong thing. They shouldn't have feared humanity's rise. They should have feared what would happen when they tried to stop it.